We want to say thank you for coming to the Community Builders Network 2015 Awards reception here at Cortex. My name is Bonita Cornuke. I'm a consumer reporter with Fox 2 News. And I'm happy to be here with you as your mistress of ceremony. They asked me to come just to make sure that the program kept moving, but I guarantee you, you don't need me to do that. It'll be just fine. It'll be a wonderful evening, good food, good fellowship, and honoring some outstanding people. To help us get the evening started, Amelia Bond, President and CEO of the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation, our community-level sponsor, is here to welcome everyone and greet you. Would you please join me in welcoming Miss Amelia Bond?
Well, thank you, Bonita, and thank you all for coming this evening. This is a fabulous crowd. All of us at the Community Foundation are extremely proud to be a part of tonight's Community Builders Network event. We have long admired and supported this organization's mission to build and sustain vibrant neighborhoods in our region. Now more than ever, this mission has relevance to all of us, as homeowners, as citizens, as donors, and as funders. Why? Because we all know place matters, home matters. And you as a group know this more than anyone. But all too often, most people take this for granted. Right now, we are facing big challenges as many of our neighborhoods continue to be in decline. This is not new, but it is also not limited to our urban core. Unfortunately, the deterioration is moving north and west. The Great Recession with its foreclosures have taken a toll, as they did across communities across this country. But now we have the added challenge, Ferguson. But I'm an optimist, and the Community Foundation is an optimist. And we believe Ferguson and all of the regional implications can actually help propel us forward on our quest to build communities and strong neighborhoods. How? Because we believe that in the past 6 months that have cast a spotlight on our region, while it is uncomfortable, at its core, it is compelling us to think creatively and to confront issues that have plagued us and this region for decades. Make no mistake, these are problems that are not unique to St. Louis, nor are they ones that lend themselves to easy solutions or quick fixes, and I know all of you know that. What they do represent is an opportunity for us to come together, to think differently, and to challenge ourselves to make meaningful changes. We must embrace this challenge, and in doing so, we can be the beacon of progress for our nation. It also means that we must step out of our comfort zone and try new solutions, forge new alliances, and take a holistic approach toward neighborhoods, our schools, and our job programs. We also need to explore ways to strengthen community and civic engagement, and this is why it is so important for events like tonight to take place, to draw in that civic engagement and community support. Bottom line, we need to break out of business as usual and reward and nurture programs that are innovative and demonstrate success. The Greater St. Louis Community Foundation thanks to its generous donors and to support this ambitious effort through the collection of grants, impact investments, and our partnerships with various funders and intermediaries. We are in this for the long haul, and we know how meaningful change doesn't happen overnight. So tonight's event is an ideal forum for us to come together, share ideas, and to hear and learn from others who are leading and supporting so many of these efforts, or thinking about new ones. It is also an occasion for us to acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments and successes of programs and individuals who are doing their part to advance these causes and to make a difference in our communities. So enjoy this wonderful opportunity, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Amelia, for your remarks and for your welcome tonight. We thank the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation for its generous support of tonight's event. Now, to further underscore the importance of the work that you do, all of you in this room, we want you to know that community development matters to the region, especially, as mentioned by Amelia, after the events in Ferguson. We've invited Henry Weber, Executive Vice Chancellor at Washington University in St. Louis, here to give us keynote remarks as we explore these issues. Please welcome Mr. Henry Weber.
Thank you very much. Thank you all, and welcome to Cortex. You're in the headquarters building of the Cortex district. Cortex is 1 million square feet. It's 3,000 jobs. And in about 6 months, it's the biggest blue and yellow spot on Earth, otherwise known as IKEA. It is also the home of over 200 companies that employ and create opportunities for St. Louisans, but companies that also produce products that make human life better. Companies that represent the best thinking about treating Alzheimer's, about improving crop yields, and about using technology. It is my enormous pleasure to serve as the vice chair of the Cortex board. It is a labor of love. But I want to talk a little bit about community development, and I want to get there by telling a story. 7 years ago, my wife, Chris Jacobs, and I moved to St. Louis. So about 7.5 years ago, we started announcing to our friends and colleagues that we were leaving Chicago and moving here. When I told our friends that we were coming and I was going to be the executive vice chancellor at Washington University, most people said, "That's a good job. It's a good university." When we told people we were moving from Chicago to St. Louis, they told us that we were insane. They couldn't believe that we would move to what they saw as a declining industrial city who saw its best 50 years ago. They were wrong, and we quickly learned that they were wrong. We love living in the Central West End and walking down Euclid on a cold winter night, stopping in for an informal dinner. We love running in Forest Park. We love the Tower Grove Farmers Market with the people doing yoga in the front and the kids playing in the fountain and the not very good bands in the background. Have I offended anybody? We love the fact that you can eat outdoors in months other than July and August. There's no sign for us as empty nesters that this is a city in decline. For us, we consider it a privilege to live here. And the reason it's a city that we're privileged to live in is because of the work of all of you in this room. Because of the work you've done to rebuild neighborhoods, to create energy, to rebuild the urban core. And you've done very well. But there's also another story to tell. And I think we have to admit that story. Part of that story's been here for a long time. It's a story of neighborhoods that have faced industrial decline. But of course, it got a lot worse this year. On August 9th, 2014, a date that unfortunately many of us will remember for the rest of our lives, Michael Brown was shot and killed in Ferguson. It was a body blow to St. Louis. My friend and many of your friends, Denny Coleman, the CEO of the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, has noted that in the first 52 days after Michael Brown's death, there were 100 billion media impressions of St. Louis. I spent most of late August in Copenhagen Berlin, and Amsterdam. Except for one day when Mr. Putin's invasion of Ukraine took us off, we led the local news in Copenhagen, Amsterdam, and Berlin. The reality is that most of those impressions of St. Louis, probably 98% of them, were very negative. And the question for this people in this room, and for every citizen of St. Louis, and every leader, is what the heck are you going to do about that? Are you going to accept that St. Louis is viewed by many as an international symbol of divides of race and class? That we are Selma 50 years later? That's one choice we can make. We can accept that. Or we can say that this is a time to do what we've done well in the past, but put the foot on the accelerator in a completely different way. That's the choice we have to make. It's a choice that New Orleans had to make after Katrina. It's the choice that Detroit has had to make after the death of the auto industry in significant ways. That's the choice. And it seems to me, and I think I speak for all of us, there's only one choice. To go backward is to condemn our children and our grandchildren to this not being a great place, and probably in reality to them not living here. That's what it means. The question is, are we willing to take the efforts, are we willing to double the improvements we've made in public education? And public education in St. Louis is a lot stronger than it was when I moved here 7 years ago. There are many more choices for middle-class parents. There are many more choices for all parents who are upwardly mobile than there was then. Are we going to build off things like T-Rex and Cortex and build a new economy that replaces a manufacturing economy of a different era? Are we going to build community? Are we going to do what we've done successfully in probably 15 neighborhoods in the city in terms of revitalizing neighborhoods? What we've done in the Central West End, what we've done in Botanical Heights, what's happening in Forest Park Southeast, what's been done in Soulard, and do that in 15 more neighborhoods in the next 10 years, including a variety of neighborhoods north of Del Mar. And then the question is, are we going to face our Achilles heel, which is race, which is the divisions of race in our community? I guess for me, there isn't, and I'm speaking to this crowd, there isn't much question, but there's only one answer to that. And that answer is to put the foot on the gas. And we're only going to succeed at doing that if we do it together. Community and economic development are team sports. You can't succeed as an individual superstar. In an office right up there, I was instrumental to crafting the deal that brought IKEA, not to Chesterfield, not to O'Fallon, but to the city of St. Louis. It took 2 years. It took the independent efforts of probably 30 people, all of whom were necessary and none of whom were sufficient in and of themselves. And my experience is that almost everything that matters has that characteristic. They have the characteristic of big, diverse teams of people who are dedicated to work together. Community development in many ways is the ultimate team sport. It requires neighborhood associations, banks, foundations, anchor institutions. And the reason I'm so pleased with this event is that's who you're recognizing. That's not only who's in the room, is you're recognizing the team quality of this enterprise. So if we're going to put our foot on the gas, And if Ferguson becomes not a step toward decline, but a moment of transformation positively, if it becomes our Katrina in that way, then the question is what we do. And I want to make 3 very simple propositions for you to think about, disagree with. If you engage and think about them, that's good. But I want to say, so this is the 3 points I want to make. First is, we need to build a stronger community development system so that we work together better. We work together predominantly by personal relationships. We work together we have many fewer institutions that bring us together. We have a lot of great CDCs in town, but they tend to work pretty independently. There was one of the things done by this organization was producing a very useful report on strengthening St. Louis Neighborhood Task Force. And if you haven't read it, read it. Makes a set of important points about how to build a system. Points about the need to focus on both the most distressed neighborhoods and middle neighborhoods. About the need to build capacity. About the need for additional investment. And about the importance of collaboration in order to make progress. That's the first point, is to build a system. The second point is to remember that community development is not just about housing and retail development and parks, which it is, but it's also about schools and about safety. If we want to reattract, especially families, to places that families aren't settling, you simply have to offer high-quality school options and neighborhoods that people feel safe walking around. And as we think about the agenda, that needs to be an important part of the agenda. I think at least on the school side, we're making progress, but we have a long way to go. And third is about attitude. And I want to make an assertion that I believe from the bottom of my heart. History is not destiny. The past is not the future. First time Chris and I ever visited Seattle, which was in the mid-1980s, there was a big billboard that said, "Will the last person who leaves Seattle turn out the lights?" Boeing was downsizing dramatically, just like McDonnell Douglas did here. It was a manufacturing city, and now it's transformed itself into one of the high-tech hubs of the world. For those of you who are a little younger, how long? 20 years ago, Brooklyn was where everybody wanted to leave. Now Brooklyn is where my children want to live. Cities transform themselves. They go through cycles. Sometimes those cycles are longer than we would like. But cities go through periods of decline, and they go through periods of enormous rebirth. I have absolute confidence that working together, the 2020s can be the greatest decade in St. Louis history. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Weber. Thank you. Thank you for your words of encouragement. And certainly, if each of us in this room takes to heart what you said, we will see a new St. Louis. We'll see a new St. Louis very soon, building on what we have. We want to thank you for joining us and all of you here in the room. We want to also introduce you to some individuals who have done outstanding work. We have a great set of awardees to honor this evening. But first, we want to thank our sponsors. We owe a tremendous show of gratitude to the generosity of our sponsors for making this evening possible. Thank you to our community-level sponsor, the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation. Give them a round of applause. Our block-level sponsors, that would be Ameren, Missouri, Commerce Bank, and Eagle Bank and Trust of Missouri. Our street-level sponsors, Accurate Dispersing, BMO Harris Bank, Enterprise Bank and Trust, Midwest Bank Center, U.S. Bank, and Washington University in St. Louis. And we also want to thank our house-level sponsors, which you can see listed in your program. We appreciate your commitment to and your understanding of the importance of community building. We also want to thank the elected and government officials who joined us this evening. I saw one in particular, Alderman Conway, and I don't know if there are others here, but if you are from St. Louis or from the region, we say thank you for being a part of today's event and the leadership that you show in government. Lastly, we are here tonight because of the organizing efforts of the Community Builders Network of Metro St. Louis. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Community Builders Network, it is an association of community building nonprofits, lenders, foundations, businesses, and government actors working to build vibrant neighborhoods where people of different incomes, races, and different walks of life can access the opportunities and resources necessary for a good life. And who doesn't want a good life? CBN believes that strong neighborhoods help to build a stronger and more competitive regional economy. CBN is supported by the Desley Collaborative Vision at the University of Missouri, St. Louis. And we'd like to ask if there are any CBN members. If you are in the room, I know you are, we ask that you stand so that we might recognize you. All CBN members stand for a round of applause. You, tonight's audience, reflects the rich diversity of actors involved in creating strong neighborhoods. Strong places are built when residents, the public sector, business, philanthropy, faith-based institutions, and nonprofits work together to invest in neighborhood improvement. We are here tonight to say thank you to individuals and organizations in each of these sectors for their contributions to community building in the region. With that, let us recognize our 2015 Community Builders Network awardees and RISE's Collaborative Grant awardees. To give the award winners time to share a few thoughts, we've actually put a brief biography of each winner in your program, so we don't have to do a lot of talking. We'll let them talk to you. You can read a little about them. Our first award is in the banking category. This award recognizes an individual or organization who gets involved beyond traditional lending in community building activities and is creative in how they support community building. We're also looking for an individual or organization that provides direct support to community building organizations, has a strong community presence, and demonstrates a deep understanding of the sector and a willingness to accept more risk. This year's award goes to Ms. Cynthia Jordan, Accounting Specialist at Citi. Congratulations, Cynthia. Come forward.
Good evening. Bonita, thank you so much. And I would like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to all of those that found me to be noteworthy of this award. I would like to acknowledge Jesus Christ, the inspiration, Lord and Savior of my life. And I echo everything that Hank said to us, and I certainly take it to heart as well. This is an unprecedented time for this region, and the most thoughtful, talented, inspirational, gifted individuals that can certainly rise to the occasion are assembled here. And there's no doubt in my mind that the St. Louis region will overcome the challenges that we've seen plastered all over the newspaper. And I'm very happy to say that Mayor James Knowles is a good friend of mine. He has all of my support, his lovely wife, Lisa. And I am confident in his leadership, not only in Ferguson, but to stand with us, to navigate us through this challenging time. And so this is a physician heal thyself moment. And I hope that we all learn how to work together in this region, which is something that we have not been able to do. But I certainly believe that, as in the words of President Barack Obama has always said, we are the ones that we're waiting on. This is our time. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, Cynthia. Our next award is in the philanthropy category. This award recognizes an individual or organization who supports community building through bringing investment and resources to places, human or physical dimensions, supports long-term commitments to neighborhoods, demonstrates creative thinking in how to support communities, and gets involved beyond traditional grant giving. This winner also provides operational funding to community building nonprofits. This year's award goes to the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation. We want to say congratulations and welcome Amelia to come back to the podium.
I think I've said enough for the evening, but I want to thank you for this award. And the Community Foundation is committed for the long haul. It is absolutely essential and imperative for our community to come together. We will be there to continue to fund these efforts. And I'm with Hank that 2020 sounds like our decade.
2020 is right around the corner, so we've got work to do, and it will get done, I'm sure. Our next award is in the public sector category. The Public Sector Award recognizes an individual, government, or quasi-government department / agency or tax-supported entity who, 1, develops or protects policy that supports investments in communities, demonstrates innovative use of resources for community improvement, and is proactive, persistent, professional, and efficient in finding ways to support community building initiatives. This year's award goes to Anita Telkamp, Community Development Block Grant Administrator, City of St. Charles. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is just amazing. I'm really honored and grateful for this. It's just, I can't believe the turnout here. You guys are awesome. You know, I would like to give a shout out to Todd Swanstrom and Dan Size for keeping this going, because every time I read one of your emails, I learn something else about the community. I'm just so grateful for all that. I would like to say, too, and reiterate what you said, that Jesus told us to put God first, to be grateful, and to love our neighbors. And I think that's what we all do in this room. And that's what's so important. And I think that's what's going to help our community stay strong and be vibrant. So I have a long list of thank yous, because I'm not the only person standing here. There would be like a lot of people behind me that would be very deserving to stand here with me today. But I have to thank my husband because he's had to listen to me for countless hours, me rambling on and on about programs and things like that. But you know what? He gives me a lot of good advice, and he loves me, and I love him. And I put all of his advice into my programs. It's just amazing what your family can do for you. But also, I attended UMSL's Neighborhood Leadership Academy a couple years ago. And I just, Kara Lieberschen and Kay Gasson, they're amazing instructors. And to meet everybody, there were people in neighborhoods all across the St. Louis region, and I learned so much about them and their programs. They were just wonderful. And I recommend this program to anybody and everybody. I talk about it all the time. Good shout out to them. But thanks to Mayor Sally Faith. She has served in the public sector all of her life, and now she's in politics. I mean, I don't know how she gets all this energy, but she is an amazing woman and very supportive. And our city council, they continue to support the nonprofit sector, and they fund programs that provide services to low-income people. And then with that, a whole group of people in our city, we have to administer this grant. It's not just me, it's every department in our whole city is affected by this. I would name them all off, but then I would run out of time, so forget that one. But also, I have colleagues that, with St. Louis County, that we formed a consortia, and our consortia is made up of the city of Florissant, St. Charles City, of course, St. Charles County, and Jefferson County. And we share home funds in order to provide homeownership opportunities for low-income families. And to do that, we work with Beyond Housing, Better Family Life, and NECAC. And those are like wonderful organizations. I can't say enough good about them. They are just amazing. And then a special thanks to the Community Council of St. Charles County for 60 years of connecting nonprofits to the community. And I feel like they're like the special silk thread that kind of like weaves us all together in a beautiful quilt that keeps us connected. And then another special thank you to Matt Miller with Calvary Church. He directs the newly formed Neighbor Helping Neighbor Services Coalition, who's made up of 40 agencies wrapping services around our school districts. And then lastly, I worked through the Neighborhood Leadership Academy and worked to form a spinoff of the St. Louis Home Repair Network. So now we're the St. Charles Home Repair Network. And we got St. Joe Manan, who was the award winner last year. We Love St. Charles, Neighborhood Preservation Partnership, NECAC, Habitat, Connections to Success, Delta Center, Mideast Area Agency on Aging, Restore St. Charles, Harvester Christian, Lowe's, and Provident Bank. And so one thing I just want to leave you with is my favorite quote, and it's from Mother Teresa, and I think it's pretty fitting. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters and create many ripples. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. You and everyone in this room, all of you involved, the awardees in particular, are in fact creating ripples. And we hope that you continue to feel vibrant and encouraged to make more ripples and make this even better. Our next award is in the business category. The Business Award recognizes an individual or business who acts as an anchor institution for communities through investment, providing employment, or remaining committed to staying in communities needing economic activity. Involves employees in community service with community partners, provides economic growth to the region, and locates in neighborhoods with revitalization plans providing employment and drawing capital into communities, and provides funding for community building nonprofits. This year's award goes to Guy Slay of Mangrove Redevelopment.
Thank you very much for this recognition for our work. This award is very special to me because it comes from a network of organizations who provide many of the much-needed services throughout throughout our region. These services improve the quality of life for everyone in St. Louis. All right. Our neighborhood, Forest Park Southeast in the Grove, is in the midst of a wonderful renaissance. The success that we're experiencing is the result of the hard work and risk-taking by a variety of stakeholders: longtime neighbors, new neighbors, old businesses, new businesses, for-profit businesses, not-for-profit businesses, local government, and faith-based organizations. All of these stakeholders bring variety of perspectives, creativity, and talents to our neighborhood, which keeps us a wonderfully diverse neighborhood. We also benefit from the leadership of Brian Phillips with WashU Redevelopment Corp. And Brooks Goedeker with Park Central Development Corporation. Their high standards and fair-mindedness have been essential to help guide our neighborhood to the place we enjoy today. I have eternal gratitude for the backbone of our business, and that's our commercial tenants and their patrons, as well as our residential tenants. Without them, our newly restored buildings would remain empty and subject to the next cycle of vandalism and decay. Without them, community is not restored. Thank you again, Community Builders Network, for all that you accomplished for all of St. Louis. Thank you for this wonderful evening here at Cortex and for including me amongst your distinguished honorees. St. Louis is a wonderful region. It needs all of us, and we all need to bring our best efforts to it. Thank you very much.
I'll take it home if you want to leave it. Thank you, Mr. Slay. Our next award is in the faith-based category. The faith-based award recognizes a religious individual or institution who is community-oriented, deploys both human and financial resources to bear on neighborhood issues, policy change, or social justice issues, and demonstrates a willingness to collaborate with community partners. This year's award goes to Workday, a ministry of Restore St. Louis and New City Fellowship. Congratulations.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Stern, and I'm the director of the Workday Ministry. And just want to say thank you to the Community Builders Network for this award. I also want to recognize right away two of our board members who are neighbors, good friends, and they are my moms, Fanny Baker and Lovey Haynes. If you could wave your hands back there. The Workday exists to do spirit-led deeds of justice and mercy in the community. And my hope has been, I've been in this job for a little over 15 years now, is to really unite the faith-based community and specifically churches. And Jesus was very direct in this thing. He said, he actually prayed for his disciples and he said, Lord, would they be one even as we are one, so that the world would know that the Father has sent the Son. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm aiming for in terms of the Workday ministry, is to actually bring the church together. Now, if you know churches, we don't play nice together often. That's true in St. Louis and unfortunately around the world. Martin Luther King Jr. said that the most divided hour in America is when? 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. Our challenge to the church is to get out of the pew and get in the street. I am the husband of one wife and the father of 6 children. I didn't go to high school in St. Louis, but by God's grace, my children will. I live in the West End neighborhood, and within 5 blocks of my home, there were 6 murders last year. Those 6 murders represent 5% of the murder count of a city of over 300,000 people. My heroes are the widows that have stayed in the neighborhood. While others have left, they have stayed. And what I've seen as the neighborhood is redeveloped is those widows and their prayers are the building blocks on which we are standing. St. Louis would not be the place that it is without those widows and their work. They have remained, and they have remained faithful. They are the best partners that we work with, and they are a huge blessing. So on behalf of the Workday, thank you for this award. We just look forward to seeing the church getting more and more and more active in this work. Thank you.
Congratulations to Workday, a ministry of Restore St. Louis. Our next award is in the resident category. The Resident Award recognizes a resident who has shown incredible volunteerism and involvement in their community and/or community initiatives, goes above and beyond normal resident action to sit on boards, head committees, or encourage the engagement of other residents, and lives in a CBN member footprint. This year's award goes to Mr. Floyd Wright. Congratulations.
Thank you for the award. If this had been 5 years ago, I could have been a more brisk in my walking, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, I came to St. Louis 35 years ago as I was a young teacher in the county, and I came to the city and bought a 4-family building, lived in it as my home. And I would think that a big part of my resident leadership is based on, I've been a tenant landlord for 35 years, and I have, that has meant a lot because, in terms of empathy and working with the neighbors. Years ago, we had a block unit where I live in which people were very close, and then suddenly people started coming into windows late at night, and certain strange things started happening that frightened everyone. It was an existential moment. Were we going to stay or run away? And that was in the 1980s, 30 years ago. We collectively decided to stay, and I still live on that same block 30 years later, thank God. But we actually, back then, used walkie-talkies and stayed up most of the night, taking turns, tenants, landlords, are we going to stay or be run off by this sort of intrusion into our lives? Later on, we had, in the 1990s, we had better, more sophisticated equipment, and we actually drove around, working with the police and with the neighbors to try to stabilize the neighborhood, where we had car bashing after car bashing, incident after incident for years. But in between, we kept our vision of a beautiful place by the botanical garden. And that was my dream and my sister's dream, who sits here and has lived there 30 years. And it is a dream that we see realized finally. My mother and dad bought property with me, 2 buildings, and they lived there for many years late after I moved there. And my mother died last year at 93, and she got to see the promised land, as the saying goes. She got to see the neighborhood so much better, crime so much more reduced, and people rebuilding and remodeling beautifully, and she was so happy. And in this latter years of my life, I never thought I would see such wonderful improvement over the last 30 years. And things like the Garden District Commission, which has been wonderful in establishing not just Botanical Heights, but the whole area. Things like Southwest Garden Neighborhood, in which I've been active for years, and also with the Tower Grove Neighborhoods Corporation, Development Corporation with Sean Kennedy, We thank our Alderman, Steve Conway. Everybody working together. Our crime is drastically reduced, vandalism is reduced, improvement of property so that we have very long-term happy tenants there, because it is a neighborhood that is over 80% multiple family. So there's quite a challenge with that. And we're so happy to have the landlords, some of them live-in landlords, some of them not, really improve and treasure their tenants and treasure their buildings. And and through our organization, the Property Owners Organization locally, we showcase development every quarter for 20 years at the Botanical Garden, where we invited them to come quarter after quarter to see what each other was doing. And that inspired them. And that has all paid off so beautifully. But I thank all of you tonight for celebrating with us the future of St. Louis. I'm very optimistic for the future of St. Louis, and thank you so much.
Thank you and congratulations, Mr. Wright. Our next award is the CBN Community Building Nonprofit Member Award. The CBN Community Building Nonprofit Member Award recognizes a CBN member who demonstrates excellence in multi-year, place-based, collaborative, comprehensive community building based on strong community engagement, uses data and evaluation to achieve maximum impact in their efforts, and is a full CBN member. This year's award goes to DeSales Community Housing Corporation. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Benita, and thank you to the Community Builders Network. I'm Tom Pickle, the Executive Director of DeSales Community Housing Corporation, and we're particularly gratified with tonight's award because it's coming from our peer organizations. We've been happy to be a co-founding member of CBN, and we think it's really put community development on the map, especially in these trying times, and holds out promise for great progress in our communities for years to come. I think Hank very appropriately referred to community development as a team sport, and I'd be remiss tonight or not do justice to this award without taking a few minutes to introduce you to our team. I know there are a number of our board members here tonight, and I'd like to ask them to stand. Yes, you do have to, Laura. I want to just call out our president, Chris Nafziger, Vice President Ian Simmons, Secretary Tammy Shelton, longtime board member Steve Souter, our treasurer, as well as Patrick Moore, also Laura Gilbert, Maggie Grady, Sonia Henry, Rihanna Kastner, Roland Kramer, Larry McCarthy, and Mary Wilson. These are what I consider the model citizen volunteers that guide our organization, that set policy and govern the organization, that show up at the 7 a.m. Board meetings, the 7 a.m. executive committee meetings, month after month, and have been the cornerstone of whatever success our organization's had. And I'm so grateful for having had the opportunity to work with them. And of course, it takes good governance, but it takes good execution too. And likewise, we're fortunate to have a great staff that dedicated people that works hard day in and day out to accomplish our mission. I'd like to ask our staff members to stand up. There are a number of you here tonight, and let me recognize you individually. Please make yourselves known as I call out your name. Our Director of Property Management, Stan Presson. Our Controller, Cindy Carpenter. Jeff Grace, who's not here tonight, our Program Coordinator. Jeff's at a class. Kristen Motley, our Accounting Clerk. Christina Rotter, Assistant Property Manager. Lachey Manning, Leasing Assistant. Angela Pointer, Leasing Assistant. Donna Dumling, our Compliance Assistant. Dino Dojic, our Maintenance Manager. Also our Maintenance Technicians, Antoine Mallet, Randy Merrill, and Jovan Shola. These are the people that make the organization work. I'm just the lucky guy who gets to stand up here and receive the award, and we're so grateful again for that. Thank you. Lastly, I want to recognize just a few of the event sponsors tonight that have been particularly helpful to our organization over the years. First of all, ND Consulting. I know Ken Nurnberger's here. Ken has been a key part of our development program from the very beginning, going back more than 20 years ago. Also, more recently, we've had the pleasure of working with Eric McMahon. Is Eric here? I just want to say thank you to Eric for talking me down off the ledge a couple times last year when we were trying to get our MHDC project closed, and I thought we might never make it. Also, I want to recognize E.M. Harris Construction Company, the great team there led by Mike Harris and Don Buckmiller and Phil Kroll, again, have been a huge part of our development team for a long, long time. St. Louis Equity Fund, which has provided so much of the funding for our affordable housing development over the years. Thank you very much. Also, Commerce Bank, personified for most of us by Laura Gilbert, again, one of our board members. Thank you very much. And also Eagle Bank and Trust, led by CEO Mike Walsh and Senior VPs Jim Hall and Bill Springer. I don't think they're able to make it here tonight, but they provided great assistance to us, not only with financing, but some really good business advice in recent years. I think maybe Nathan Nelson from Eagle Bank is here, so Nathan, please pass along our thanks to Mike and everybody else. Again, thank you very much. This is a great honor from CBN, and thank you.
Now, before we move into our last award presentation, I want to invite Laura Gilbert from Commerce Bank to the microphone to recognize the RISE 2015 Collaborative Grant Award winners. Ms. Gilbert, welcome.
Good evening. I'm Laura Gilbert, Vice President of Community Development for Commerce Bank, and also the chair of the CDC Capacity Building and Collaborative Grants Program Committee for RISE. We're very pleased to join the Community Builders Network at this annual celebration of excellent work in the community development field. RISE is proud to be a partner with CBN. We'd like to thank its board and Todd Swanstrom and Carl Gunther for the opportunity to be a part of tonight's program. The mission of RISE is to work in partnership with community-based and other organizations to redevelop and strengthen neighborhoods and communities. One of the tools that RISE uses to carry out its mission is our CDC Capacity Building and Collaborative Grants Program. This program combines individual technical assistance and group training with targeted grants to build the capacity of St. Louis area CDCs to carry out their neighborhood revitalization initiatives. Tonight, we're pleased to announce our 2015 collaborative grantees. The Collaborative Grant Program is made possible through generous contributions from participating funders. In 2015, the Collaborative enjoys the support of Central Bank of St. Louis, City Foundation, Commerce Bank Shares Foundation and Commerce Bank, First Bank, and the PNC Foundation. Since 1998, RISE has made $2.9 million in collaborative grant awards to 21 different area CDCs in both Missouri and Illinois. All right. Thank you. I think it's a good deal. Our collaborative grantees are among the leading CDCs in the St. Louis region, responsible for sustained impact and neighborhood improvements in the variety of communities that they serve. And now, the 2015 awardees and their grant-funded projects. Would a representative of the organizations please come forward as your name is called? We're going to get a group picture quickly. Our grantees are DeSales Community Housing Corporation for the Jefferson Collaborative Health Initiative. The Greater Alton Community Development Incorporated for their block build project. Lee Development Corporation and Lee Housing Partnership for the startup of the Community Link newspaper. Northside Community Housing, Inc. for their minor home repair program, beautification, and gardening programs. And finally, the Tower Grove Neighborhoods Community Development Corporation for their tenant screening program. We want everyone to gather around the big check and we'll get a picture. Wish up, yeah. You can see this year's grants totaled $76,500. Thank you. We'd like to say congratulations to all of our recipients and thank all of the generous contributors to the CDC Capacity Building and Collaborative Grants Program. Again, Central Bank of St. Louis, City Foundation, Commerce Bank Sheriff's Foundation and Commerce Bank, First Bank, and the PNC Foundation. A quick show of hands of members of our collaborative supporters we have here. I know there's somebody else besides us. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor for RISE to be a part of this event, and we look forward to our continuing relationship with the Community Builders Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert, and again, congratulations to all of you recognized through RISE. Now, the last award. This is the Outstanding Achievement Award. You know, you save the big one for the last. This means this person or this organization has done it all. This is Outstanding Achievement. The Community Builders Outstanding Achievement Award recognizes an individual who demonstrates a long-standing commitment to the community building sector, exhibits leadership, vision, and a commitment to action and results, and has achieved an outstanding impact on our community building policy, investment, or community change. This year's award goes to Deborah Moore, Director of Administration for St. Clair County. Ms. Moore.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Cornute. What a joy to be here this evening. So many friends, so many people I know from so many years ago. I will not date myself, but you guys know who I am. I know who you are. It's my honor to serve, however, in the roles that I have served in. But to see the work that the Community Builders Network is doing now causes us all to realize a vision that we have had for many, many years, individually and collectively. So would you please join me in acknowledging the work of the Community Builders Network? Community development work is necessary, it's expensive, and it's difficult. For multiple reasons, it's difficult. A part of the problem, however, is that we are not as easy to hold those things we call dear, the communities we serve that are inextricably tied to people accountable for what we do. We work extremely hard. My work began many years ago with an organization called the Regional Housing Alliance. It is now RISE, and look at the wonderful things RISE does. But RHA, the goal of RHA was to increase the number of affordable housing units in the region. I'm a regional person, so the idea of regional work is very attractive to me. Thank you. So it's very gratifying to see work in Missouri as well as Illinois, all the way to Alton now. So it's wonderful, the work that's being done. But the work that we do is work that must be sustained and sustained over time. And it will not sustain as we desire if the populations we serve are not accountable for and appreciative of what we do. I don't know that I have the answer to how do we make our work more appreciated, which results in an ability to do more work in other areas or in broader areas and in broader networks. As I said, community development is difficult. But we should not take for granted what we do. We should not take for granted the contributions that all of you make that are so very, very important to this work. And certainly all of the institutions that give on a corporate level, you as neighborhood organizations, individuals, all who support the work that we do is so very, very important. I am proud to stand before you. My commitment remains to do this work and to make things happen. I feel that I have an instinct to do the work. I guess it's just a gift that God gave me. And out of what we've heard tonight, we've heard Hank say our best years are ahead of us. And we look forward to the times that will come. But we will not succeed at the levels we desire if we are not all working as a collective and holding those individuals with whom we work accountable, causing our work to include understanding the value of what we do and the need for all of us, from the first grader to the senior citizen, to appreciate our work, support our work, and join hands with us to make this happen, because many hands lighten the load. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Deborah, and we wish you and all of our awardees much success in the future. We don't want you to get tired. Now's not the time to slow down. Now's the time to pick it up and start moving. Put your foot on the pedal like we've been instructed already. We know that there's much to be done. This final award actually concludes the 2015 Community Builders Network Awards reception. For all of us, it's been a wonderful experience. For me in particular, I've learned some things about the different entities that work within this community and how well you have been working together. I know that there is much more to be done, but we want to say thank you for what you do and thank you for attending tonight. And you know, there are refreshments back there. We want you to stick around, enjoy, spend a few moments with our honorees here. Give them a pat on the back, help them feel encouraged so that they'll continue to do the work and not give up. Please, thank you all for coming, and congratulations again.
Really excited about the growth of this event and all the partners involved. Congratulations to all the awardees, and we look forward to a long and fruitful relationship with CBN. Thank you.
There's just a lot of value in coming to this event and networking with other people that are doing very positive things in the neighborhood. So it's definitely an event that if you've never been here, make sure you come. If you're not active in your community, make sure you become active, because there's a lot of value to others in the community, and there's a lot of experience to be gained by working within our communities.
This has been a great event highlighting the important work of community development corporations.
I want to thank Cortex and our other sponsors for hosting us as we highlight the important work going on in the region.
Well, it's very gratifying to see people who are working out there at the grassroots without much recognition finally get a little recognition. And I have to admit, it's really warms my heart to see them feel appreciated and have a moment on the stage, because most of the time they're working down there in the grassroots without much recognition. So it's really good to have this awards reception and to recognize the hard work of the people who really get it done.